All right. So I'm gonna go over auction market theory, and how I use it. It's pretty basic. There's some statistics. Quantifying auction market theory is pretty hard. I don't really quantify it, but there are some factors. All right, so essentially, what it is all right, price is gonna be moving. All right, now at these lows, there's gonna be buyers. All right, so the apple, for instance, like let's say we're trading an apple. All right, this is straight from basics. If the apple's $3, people are gonna want to buy it. They're gonna be like, damn, apple's cheap right now. They buy the apple. Then they sell the apple $5. All right, they think it's fair value. Then the apple rises to $10, and that's when everyone sells their apples. It's way too overvalued, and it goes back down $5. Then they sell it again, $3, and it returns to $5. So essentially, what we're doing right now, this is our fair value. All right, and if we had if we had a volume profile for the apple, it would look like this, right? The fair value is right here at the point of control. All right, so that's a very common analogy when it comes to talking about fair value in AMT. So it's it's basically it's auctioning off prices, all right, and seeing the buyers and sellers' interest. All right, so we could be trading in here, right? Buyers and sellers are able to fill their positions. They agree. We come down here. Sellers are like, yeah, we're not interested. Or, yeah, sellers aren't interested in selling further. And buyers are more interested because this is our fair value, right? Our $5. Right now we're at $3. So buyers are like, damn, it's cheap. So they take this up $5. All right. So that's the concept. All right. We're in seek of fair value. All right. We're going to be in fair value. All right. We're going to be in fair value for 80% of the time. All right. So that means the markets are going to be going like this. Then imbalance for 20%. All right. And that's the markets are going up or down 20% of the time, approximately. All right. So we can trade either of these. All right. And the way we trade them, first, my favorite time to trade, in value. All right. When price is moving up and down like this, we want to play the extremes. All right. Because this is when we're going to be overbought, underbought. So whenever buyers take the price up here, sellers are going to want to get in and bring price back down to the average price, or the point of control. All right. So that's the only reason, that's the logic behind trading extremes. All right. So that's how you would trade profile like that. Whenever we have an imbalance, we normally have something like this. All right. We're bouncing in, and then we have a break. All right, once we have this break, we might have another profile, a shelf we tap into, but disregarding that data, once we have a break, we're going to do one of two things. One, we're going to tap back into here, fail to accept into this value, and we're going to want lower prices. All right, so we're going to go down. All right, so that's the break and tap. Another thing we can do is we actually do accept into this. So whenever we break like this and we accept back into it, 80% of the 80% of the time we're going to traverse up to here. We're going to get to this 80% of the time. But the other 20% we might just accept back into it in range. But that's if we accept into it. If we don't, then we're just going to continue lower. It's going to be a larger imbalance, or it's going to be an imbalance to the upside, or we're just going to find value again. All right. So those are some statistics you can take into account. Now, viewing this value, we can do this with market profile and volume profile. All right. Right now I have market profile, RTH. So here we add balance, right? They wanna keep price around here. Price was probably doing something like this, maybe range, boom, right? Then we had our imbalance, a little bit of ETH, and then RTH. Then we start to build value right here. All right. Then we started to break. So now we know if we accept into value, we're probably going to reach these highs or just build value again. But what we did was we broke. We didn't even retrace. We just dumped. All right, so that's not really an example I can give too much. But it's the same to the upside. We're building value. Whenever we break, you want to look for tap back into it, right, to play further, or acceptance to then short it down to here, right, down to this right here, or maybe D period lows, something like that, right? So let me see an example where that does happen. Here, perfect example, all right, where we played the 80% odds. Value, 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 value. We break down, we make a decent tail. We end up closing here. All right, what we in turn do is we move higher. And now that we're accepting into these prices, this is RTH, so we can't see ETH. But now that we're accepting into these prices, we have an 80% chance of going higher than this. And just look what we did after that. We just kept going higher. I mean, here we built value. You could have taken some longs off of this prior resistance, new support, which is a topic I covered, which is literally just resistance getting inversed, turning into support. And that's what we saw here. I mean, it all connects in the end of the day. But yeah, that's a really nice example, and we tapped into this RTH gap, which is another topic I have to go over whenever I make a video on TPOs and some of the things on there. But yeah, that's those scenarios, and we always seek value. So that's why whenever we're in these balanced days, we can just short up here. Maybe you buy this tail with this. I think I took a trade off of that. I'm pretty sure ETH was a little different though on this. But yeah, moving on to the volume profile, what it would look like on there. Let's just go here. Let's go on like a 5 minute. I mean, here's another example of the same thing. look, like we're building value. All right. Right here, it's smart to buy right here, sell right here. Like you could have sold right here, could have sold here, could have sold here, close position here. Then we break out of value. So one of two things, three possibilities here. One, we dump. So that's number one. Number two, accept into it and start to range again. Number three, we go higher prices and we break this. All right. And this has 80% chance of doing. And this has a 20% chance. I mean, you can see how this played out. All right. But this is, I mean, sure, some jerk off might say this is the manipulation. Banks are taking our stop losses. Shut the fuck up. Like, go do some research on those subjects before you say some bullshit like that. All right. This is just auction market theory. All right. But this is on RTH, so like, I mean, there's really nothing else I can go into with auction market theory. It's literally just, I mean, here's the same thing. Like, we're starting to build value, right? Here we had a profile, right? You know what? Why don't I draw this out? Because there's not really much I can do, so I might as well draw this out just to show you how consistent it is, right? So boom, this is support. All right, we break, we find value. All right, so let's move this profile to show you that we found value. All right, you can't see it because this profile's in the way, but we built value here. This prior support, we're going to look for this to be resistance. All right, and we're going to look for this profile to build onto that, and we're going to look to buy down here, sell up here, right? You could have shorted this perfectly fine. Then, after building this value, we broke. One of three things going to happen. The one with the highest odds is us breaking these highs. And look what happened. I mean, it's really not hard. I mean, and I'm trying to show examples of those probabilities playing out, because those are like some mechanical things. I mean, I prefer to trade mechanically and less of the nuance ways. But yeah, essentially all it is just we balance, boom, we're going to find new balance, right? Maybe we dip out there, boom, we break, another balance, we break out of this, and then we take out these highs, and maybe we build value here, and maybe come down lower and find value in some of the same places as before, right? Like, it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. That's why it's easy to get experience with this, because you can see it everywhere. Like, even on the fucking 1 minute, you can see this shit happen. I mean, it's shit, but like, my point is it's everywhere. Like, balance, imbalance, balance, resistance, or support, new resistance, balance. All right, boom, this support is new resistance. We come down here, and now we're either gonna travail past this, or we're gonna react off of this shelf down here. And look what we do. So now we can say that we're probably gonna take these lows out, and then you can look to go bid off of that. Like, It's everywhere. It's the best concept. That and support and resistance. Yeah, there's not much else I can say. That's really all there is to it. Balancing, bounce, bounce, bounce. I don't know what else I could cover, honestly. Uh, it's really simple in my opinion. I mean, there's a bunch of videos out there. I just covered like some examples and using this, like, the chances of things happening and whatnot.